it's Ben with the DIY Homefront. Thanks for tuning back into the channel. Well, you must be either thinking about getting a mosquito magnet or have one. But if you're thinking about getting one, this is something they don't tell you. There's a lot of consumable parts that go with that mosquito magnet. And I'm not talking about the pieces on the inside. I'm talking about the propane tank and the attractant. I go through about at least one propane tank a month, and I put the attractant in every 2 months. So let me go ahead and swap out the propane tank and put the attractant in, and you can come along for the ride. That's what the attractant looks like, and it really has an odor to it. So I keep it in this container along with my spare parts, which is a heating element and a couple of those CO2 canisters to blow out the gas filter. Now when it's time to use these, you just pull this back, and there's two small holes. So you don't do anything other than that. You don't actually take out the little white thing on the inside. And I have found that a pair of pliers makes it pretty handy to replace that. Well, I really like the mosquito magnet, but everybody seems to have a different experience with it. So leave me a comment or a like depending on your point of view. I keep the mosquito magnet facing the house, so that way I can see that little red light. And at night, I can tell if it's blinking or if it's solid, which makes it easy to tell when it's time to replace this propane tank. Well, I already have the replacement propane tank next to the mosquito magnet, but this is my setup. It's right next to where we sit and look at the garden, and it's halfway between the garden and our fire pit area. Well, underneath the mosquito magnet, there's this little black thing that hangs down, and that's where the attractant is. And like I said, I have found it's easier to get a pair of pliers and pull it out to put the new one in, and then this just clips back on like that. So we have replaced the attractant. That's easy enough. Let's see how many mosquitoes we ended up getting. Well, the number of mosquitoes I've caught in this trap can be a little misleading. When I first started using this, I got a lot more, but I don't think it's because the mosquito magnet's working any better or worse than it was. It was new. There's just less mosquitoes in the yard for the mosquito magnet to collect. And the white cartridge that's supposed to attract those mosquitoes has octanol in it, and it's supposed to be replaced every 20 to 30 days, but I only replace it every other time that I change the propane tank. There's a lot of mosquitoes. I'm going to wipe the screen down a little bit just so the air flows through it better. So there you go. Gets lowered into place and then the lid snaps shut. All right, let's swap out the propane tank. Propane tank is easy enough. Make sure it's closed. The old one goes off. Then the much heavier new tank gets put in place. The new tank goes on. Now when it comes to the price of that 1 month cartridge of octanol mosquito attractant, you can find it for as little as $4.50 per cartridge or as high as $9. And I probably use my mosquito magnet 10 months out of the year, which means I could spend anywhere from $45 to $90 a year in just the attractant. And I have found that I don't open it all the way up. I just go like 1, 2, 3. Now it's turned back on and the light's blinking. What we'll have to do is pay a little bit of attention to this, and within 15 or 20 minutes it should go solid. And as long as we're out here, I'm going to talk about these two things. The milk crate is a great way to transport a propane tank. You can put that in your trunk or the back of your truck, and you don't have to worry about the tank tipping over and rolling around, especially once they fill them up. They get to be pretty heavy. And when they're rolling around in the back of your vehicle, you'll know it if they bump into something. The second thing I found out is that when you take these tanks to those exchanges at the convenience store, they normally only fill them up with 4 pounds of LP gas. And if you take it to the hardware store, they will fill these all the way up, and they actually hold 5 pounds of propane gas. Even though it may seem like a reasonable and convenient place to swap out your propane tanks at the convenience store, they are actually shortchanging you by a gallon. Well, let's talk about the cost. I found a propane tank exchange place and I paid $29 for a 4-pound tank of propane. And then I took an empty one to the hardware store and I got a complete fill up and it said it was 4.7 gallons, and I paid $19 for that. So on the low end, the cost for 10 months of operation is going to be $245. And if you go the expensive route and exchange those propane tanks at the convenience store and buy the Mosquito Magnet brand octanol cartridge, you're going to end up spending a lot more per year. And when I say a lot, I'm calculating around $462, and that's before any repairs. All right, well, I'm going to put the propane tank in the back of my pickup truck, do a few things, and then we'll come back in a few minutes and make sure that that red blinking light is not blinking. All right, well, it's probably been about 15 or 20 minutes at least, because I've done a couple of chores and we got that solid red light. Well, there you go. What do you think about the prices? It's expensive to buy a mosquito magnet, and it's relatively expensive to maintain a mosquito magnet. But I don't know where I'm at. You just can't be outside at certain times of the day without being eaten up by bugs. And I guess if you're going to be outside, it's worth it. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, check out all those playlists, and I'm going to see you in that next video.